Surveillance is the collection and distribution of data collected by companies. It is pervasive in everyone's life and continues to arise anxieties as our data is being used without our full knowledge. However, even though these anxieties and complaints exist, people still go along and accept agreements that allow this data to be used, even though most social media platforms explicitly state what data they take into their privacy policy or terms and conditions. We argue that even though people are afraid and complain about surveillance, they still use and accept any form of media that requires or requests the surveillance data. As stated by Zuboff, there are lots of people who are monetizing data today. You get on Google and it seems like it's free. It's not free. You're giving them information and they sell your information. Could we or should we sell this information we get from people driving around to various people and capture some additional profit source? It's a long-term game. This supports our argument on how people are both unaware and afraid of their provided data to media platforms. Surveillance is one of the primary components of media and has to be accepted if people want to continue to use social media platforms as a part of their daily lives.
The primary concern with surveillance is that a large percentage of people who interact with social media have multiple anxieties concerning the data, specifically who receives it, who controls it, and how companies use this data.
The most important thing to me is that there's nothing that prevents these companies from giving the data to governments.
First, let's just focus on what kind of data social media companies really collect from their users. Social media companies use big data as a method to collect and analyze data. This means that they do not analyze data of one specific member, but collect them according to categories. For example, the age of the users. The social media companies use this information for a couple things, making the experience more pleasant for users, for the newsfeed algorithm, and for future applications. They also share the information of their users with third parties to make advertisements, which they also earn money with. Even though all of this is written in their terms and conditions, there are still some users that are afraid of their data being collected. One major example includes concerns with Snapchat's database. There are some claims that Snapchat is building a secret facial recognition database with the image of the users. There are some claims that they have a cooperation with the FBI, yet there is no evidence for this connection.
Snapchat, the application of Snap Inc., is one of the social media platforms at the center of attention when it comes to anxieties and conspiracies. Since Snapchat introduced its face filters and snap maps, the internet has been blowing up with concerns. These include the theory of how Snapchat is creating a facial recognition database for the NSA and FBI, and how location tracking on snap maps can lead to harmful outcomes as it can create route patterns which predators could use to their advantage to harm people. However, these anxieties are based on mere speculation, as there is no proof that the FBI or NSA have access or even remotely have facial recognition data in order to form the insinuated theory. There are also laws differentiating between governments which state that the data collected and used by social media platforms has to be stated explicitly in their privacy policy or terms and conditions. Snap Inc. has therefore released a recent update on 27 September where they adjusted the terminology of their privacy policy in order to explicitly communicate their usage of data, quote, in a way that's blissfully free of the legalities that often clouds these documents, quote. The main data Snapchat collects from its users includes three main categories: information you choose to give them, information they get when you use their services, and information they get from third parties. This includes your contact list, name, photos, location, email, anything related to snaps, and type of phone, along with other data, which is all stated on their website. Therefore, if this access to personal data is alarming to some users, the best choice would be not to use the platform.
In conclusion, online social media platforms can rapidly transform into participatory surveillance networks, in which all users, at least indirectly, contribute to the creation of a digital surveillance state. However, users have the ability to find out who receives their data, who controls their data, and for what they use this data. Even though major social media platforms such as Snapchat inform their users about the ways in which their data will be used, this still isn't enough to decrease the anxiety that the users feel regarding surveillance. Though users of these social media platforms are in a constant spiral of complaining about surveillance, they still go along and accept agreements that allow this data to be used. Thus, we believe that if individuals are in a state of constant concern and speculation regarding how their data is being used, they always have the chance to stop using those social media platforms.